Even though the AutoUpgrade has a powerful console that can be used to gather information of the jobs, this information can also be found in the log files. The AutoUpgrade separates the log files on different folders to isolate the information and make it easier to diagnose a given problem. For the following examples, we will consider that we are using this configuration file, which is a configuration file that will be operating two databases, a 11204 database called DB11204 and an 18 version database, which is called CDB18X. This configuration file will produce two jobs, one for the 1124 and one for the 18. Notice that we have not specified the log directories for neither of the databases. This means that all the log files created will be under the AutoUpgrade log tier. An execution with this folder will create the following directory structure. The CFG tools folder will contain a log file with the overall information of the jobs, state, and progress files. Just as a side note, this folder belongs to the AutoUpgrade job manager. For every job, the AutoUpgrade will create a folder name with the SID of the database and a job number, also known as the job identifier. The most relevant folders for you are the pre-checks, debug and temp directory folders. The folders that you will see depend on the execution mode the AutoUpgrade was run with. This is because each folder belongs to a particular stage. As you see, if you run the analyze mode, you will see only the pre-checks folder. If you, on the other hand, run the fixups mode, you will find the pre-checks and prefixups. And if you run the deploy mode, you will have one folder for every stage that the deploy mode runs. We also should keep in mind that with every execution, the job number will increase. This helps us to isolate the log files from previous execution and do not mix the content. So this means that for this configuration file, if we run the analyze, then we run the fixups, and then we run a deploy, we will end up having this structure. So we will have 6 folders, one created for every job execution, and because we have 2 databases in this configuration file. If we want to list the reports created during the analyze phase for the CDB18X, we will need to go to the job ID 100 and then go into the pre-checks folder. And we will find something like this. So we have a few files there, but the most relevant files for us are the preupgrade.html file and the preupgrade.log file. These files are the reports created for the user, and there you will find a summary of the conditions that were found on your database and see if we can fix them or not. On the other hand, if you want to customize the execution of these fixups, you can use the checklist.cfg file. And using this file, you can choose whether you want to skip a given check or fixup or just skip the fixup for this. And you can do so by modifying it and changing the content of the run fix tag by inside of chest to know if you just want to skip the fixup. And if you want to skip totally the check and the fixup, you can use the underscore skip tag. Once you have done this, you just need to add the checklist option into the configuration file and add the pointer to the checklist file that you just edited. If, on the other hand, you are interested in to get more details about the actual content of the upgrade logs, we will need to visit the job ID 104 because that's the job ID that belongs to the deploy of the CDB18X. If we go into this folder, we will find the log files produced by catctl and catcon. And well, there also you will find the summary of the upgrade. The content of the general progress folder can be seen into 3 major groups. The log files that belong to the job manager, as we described before, the files and folders that contain information of the AutoUpgrade, such as the control files and the state files, and the status files. On the control files and the state files, you will find some binary files that are created by the AutoUpgrade that contain specific information about the current environment and also the current state of the AutoUpgrade. This is that if we face a given problem and the process dies, when you resume the AutoUpgrade, we will read the information from these files and we will start from where we left before. That's why it's very important that these files shouldn't be modified by the user, as these are very important files that are only for internal usage of the AutoUpgrade. On the last section for the status files, we have two major files. One is the state.html file, which is a file that we have a summary of every step that was run by the AutoUpgrade and that can be used and consumed by you if you want to read on human readable text what's going on the tool. On the other part, the status folder will contain some JSON files that we have the progress.json and the status.json file, which are files meant to be consumed by other tools, just in case that you want to integrate the AutoUpgrade into your own pipeline and automate it. These files get produced even if you choose to run with console mode, so that if you run with console or no console, you can still get information from these two files. Another interesting directory is the temp directory folder. The temp directory folder is the place where the AutoUpgrade will save some files that are created and or modified by it. In this directory, you will find the before, during, and after upgrade files that are created by the AutoUpgrade. And also you will find some files that are created during the process of the upgrade, like the recompilation scripts and restart scripts. One very important part of this folder is that whenever the AutoUpgrade modifies a database file, such as the network files, when it is merging the content of them, we will create a backup of every file that we touch. And also, if we are working on write, we will create a backup of every file of every node that we touch. So you will be able to find backups for the TNS names, listener, SQLnet, and also other files. In addition to this, you will also be able to find some log files like the timezone upgrade log directory and some context files, which are just a list of files that we copy from source to target for the context component of the database. How to know if something really bad happened? Well, the AutoUpgrade has three ways to provide such information for the user. We have the console, the status files, and the log files. One of the most easiest ways to find out if something bad happened during your upgrade is checking out the AutoUpgrade console. If the AutoUpgrade faces a problem that it is not able to automatically fix, it will emit you a message like this. It will contain you the stage where the problem occurred and some additional information, such as if there is an error code available, and also where you can find more details, which is a pointer to a log file. In addition to the console, we also have the status.json and progress.json files. These files are under the status folder. These files come into a more friendly way in case that you want to add this into your own pipeline. And in these files, you will be able to find the details about what went wrong and also to see if there is a manual action expected from your side. Last but not least important, we have the log files. The log files are pretty much the source of truth. So on every execution of the AutoUpgrade and for every job, you will be able to find an AutoUpgrade_error.log file. If this file is different from 0, it's worth take a look into it because you might find something that occurred. Into this file, you will be able to find from a small warning that says that something was not properly parsed until a given stack trace that something really bad happened because the AutoUpgrade wasn't able to handle it.